Well, it's an age-old question. Does money buy you happiness? Well, we can talk now to a lady known as the happiness speaker, Frederika Roberts. She's the co-founder of the Resilience and Wellbeing Success Programme. And, Frederika, I would glean from your title that you know a lot about happiness. Where does money sit in terms of making us happy?
Hello there, Kat. Well, it's a really interesting question, and it's probably one that's been researched from every possible aspect. Now, it does seem to be really that money buys you happiness up to a point. I think there's no disputing, and the research would suggest that if you don't have enough money to make ends meet, so to make sure that you're safe and secure, that you have a roof over your head, you have enough food, you have clothes to wear, all of that kind of thing, you know, the very basic needs, then of course that's going to negatively impact on your happiness. You do need those basics. Beyond that, there is a lot of research to suggest that both at an individual level and also when you look at it nationally in terms of how affluent countries are as well, that actually going beyond that level of basic needs, money certainly doesn't make you any happier. Now, interestingly, in Jane's case, of course, money seemed to actually make her unhappy, which is a different aspect again. And there's all sorts of possible answers for that. Now, she talked about the pressure that she felt, obviously, and I think that's possibly quite an important aspect of that she would have felt under a lot of pressure.
I think that is interesting, the kind of weight of responsibility, and also the fact that she's gone from being sort of, you know, a regular girl, with actually not much money. She was living in a little flat, in a two-bedroom flat in Edinburgh, with her mum. And suddenly, everyone's looking at her thinking, oh, she's got a load of money, she can help me out, I'll go to her. Yeah. The pressure,
and also, you know, and I don't have a scientific basis for saying this, but from my sort of observation and opinion, whether that would affect her sense of self-worth as well, you know, because she's at an age where she'd be going out with friends and all of that, and you know, friendships are still very much forming, and she'd be wondering with every person that she meets, are they just hanging around me because of my money? You know, whether people's perceptions of her would have changed because of the money. All of that would have really fed, I think, into her sense of self-worth, and sort of given maybe a lot of insecurity around that, and making her feel used as well, potentially.
Frederika, I don't want to rain on whoever it is in Barnsley who has this lottery ticket somewhere on their person. I don't want to rain on their parade. So I'm wondering if you have any advice for someone who has suddenly come into a lot of money. I mean, most people would love that. I'd love that to be my problem. I would love to know, you know, how do you deal with it? The stress of suddenly becoming a millionaire. What would your advice be?
Well, I think there is, for all the doom and gloom around this idea that, you know, you get suddenly a lot of money and it makes you miserable, there is also a lot of research about the positive impact of spending money on others. So maybe not so much worrying about the expectations, but thinking about if you suddenly have an awful lot of money, how could you actually do good in the wider community? How could you use that money? And that is possibly a really good way to actually help to use that money in a way that will enhance happiness. And there's a lot of work around sort of how having goals and working on personal growth and all of those kinds of things can actually impact on your happiness. So if you use the money to help you with that as well, so you can set goals for yourself as well as for potentially helping other people, you can use that money maybe to do some studying that you've always wanted to do but you didn't have the money to go to uni. Then if you use that money in those ways, then those are really good positive ways to use the money that are likely to impact positively on your happiness, as opposed to just going down the materialism route, which is what I think most of us would be tempted to do. When you get a lot of money, you're going to splash out. But that in itself can actually negatively impact on our happiness if we just give in to that materialism completely. So I would just basically say, you know, yes, treat yourself to something, but really think about longer-term goals. How can you improve yourself and use it to achieve dreams and goals, and how can you help other people with that money? And that should really help you to actually make the most of it.
And Frederika, I'm going to ask people if they could put a price on happiness, how much money that they might need right now that they think would sort of just take the edge off, make them that bit happy, and maybe secure their happiness for a while. And I wonder if there's a figure that, you know, would make you happy, maybe enough to pay off your mortgage or buy a new car or buy a slice of cake, maybe something a bit more modest.
Oh, my goodness, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I suppose if I was thinking, if I had money to just have a year without working, so that I could use that year to maybe travel more, to focus. I'm doing a master's degree at the moment, so I would probably change that to full time and focus on that completely without having to sort of fit work in. Then that would kind of be. So how much that is, well, it's difficult to say, isn't it? Different people need different.
Enough to keep you going for a year. That's fair enough, Frederika.
For a year, because I think after that, I would want to be back in the world of work and having challenges and all of that kind of thing.
Frederika Roberts, thank you very much for talking to me this afternoon. That Frederika Roberts, the co-founder of the Resilience and Wellbeing Success Programme and the Happiness Speaker. And I would love to know...